Good evening, and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about the Pretendians. The Pretendians, people who say one thing, but what they are is something else. It's kind of like that old saying your grandparents, great grandparents used to say, speak with forked tongue. You're the devil. Speak with forked tongue. Forked tongue. Saying one thing, doing another, and then when it comes out, you want to get mad because you've been going around lying and tricking everybody. So, and what the so-called African American, I would suggest, stop looking at it. They telling you who they are. You're just getting confused on the words because they're not your words. They're not your words. People want to come to America because of the vibe that the soul people resonate with this part of the world. So that's what all soul is. You resonate with everything on this planet. You can feel it. You can sing like it. You can swim like it. They have indigenous people all over the world, in Africa, in Asia. But for the people that are part of America are the people who've been here since everybody got here. Now, you can pretend like it was nobody here, because on some of these lives I be invited to, you wouldn't believe how little the African American knows. Not everybody's like that. Not everybody's like that. We got some brothers and sisters out there that's putting it down. But for the most part, the people who should know, they don't. And what they do give, it confuses everybody, especially the children. So we just go over some things tonight. So when you hear these terms and these people talking, you'll have this, you'll know this. And when you ask them this, watch what they do. You want to see somebody disappear immediately. You want to see a magic trick? Do these couple of things to these people who's talking all his head and watch what they do. So let's check this one out. Paying to play Indian. The Dawes Roll and the Legacy of $5 Indians. Paying a commissioner $5 could get an opportunistic white person on the Dawes Roll 125 years ago. That's 1900. That's some of y'all grandparents, which still causes problem for tribes today. And this was reading in September 18th. So what, 18th, was that 7 years ago? Our 7-year-old should know this. They telling you. That's why when Trump says those aren't the Indians, he's talking about you. He's talking about you. It may be fashionable to play Indian now, but it was also trendy 125 years ago, when people paid $5 a piece for falsified documents declaring them native on the Dawes Rolls. These so-called $5 Indians paid government agents under the table in order to reap the benefits that came with having Indian blood. Mainly white men with an appetite for land, $5 Indians paid to register on the Dawes Roll, earning fraudulent enrollment in tribes along with benefits inherited by generations to come. That's you. That's your children today. I mean, this is simple simple read, simple to understand, and we keep playing like we don't know. Okay, okay. They're telling you these, and they told you 125 years ago, these people didn't get here. You was here. You own the money, and we'll show that a little bit later. But we like to just roll over these facts. We like to roll over these facts, and it really confuses. The young people that's growing up. Let's say they 18. They just getting out of high school and they go into the military. Let's say he's from Mississippi somewhere. He gets in the military and he meets all these guys from all over the world, brothers from New York, brothers from LA, brothers from Miami, everywhere. And these are places that he's never been before, nor have people from those other places been to where he's been. But he's seen a lot of LA and New York and Chicago on TV. So he's influenced by them guys. Let's say those guys are influencing them with stuff they learned back at home, be it New York, five percenters, whoever, Chicago, Nation of Islam. They get to sit and talk with these people, in real life. They become friends, and he's influenced by them, never knowing nothing about himself. Nobody's ever told him about genealogy, none of those groups. They always tell him about some ideology somewhere far away. Now, this kid will be confused for the rest of his life, won't he? And this is what we do. So a lot of times we say stuff and we just bumping our gums because other people know better. So when we're talking about these dolls rolls, we're talking about all this stuff. This is something that you have to pass down because remember, 125 years ago isn't that long ago. Like I say, that's your grandmother and grandfather. And you can see everything that they left and everything they tried to do. And mainly the African American Black person just ignores it and responds to the names other people have given them. Those people, the people that landed, that the pilgrims that came, your people didn't introduce themselves as Black. Your people didn't introduce themselves as African American. Your people weren't even acting like those people. Guess who doesn't know that? Guess who don't know that? Arrogant about it too. Arrogant. Will say things that make no sense. No sense. And when you ask them to explain it, they can't. Just ask them to explain what they're talking about. They can't. So this is what I mean. All these cats, what do you call that? These reparation movements and all that bullshit. Look, this is simple. This is right at your fingertips, and it would be powerful if a lot of us did it. But only one, two people do things or even think of things like that, and it makes no noise. Check this out. And all you people that been to college and got a degree and all that, explain some of these things that you haven't brought up that would benefit us all. So we'll talk about education a little later and what that has done. The Dawes Roll, or the final roll of citizens and freedmen of the five civilized tribes, or Dawes Commission of Final Rolls, were created by the United States Dawes Commission. The commission was authorized by the United States Congress in 1893. Again, this is when many of your grandparents were kicking it, and probably were in their hundreds too. And you'll get into the point where these people live to be in the hundreds, and the population of the ancestors of those people, their life span is getting shorter. We'll talk about that later. Traditionally, the land in these tribal communities had been held communally. You understand that. Who were the people living communally at the time? I know they twisted you up with some slavery stuff, but even the kids now are looking at like, for real, if these kids wouldn't be slaves, how did your people become slaves with their brothers and sisters fighting in the army that kept them as slaves? You got to ask questions to these people who are telling you these stories. And just because you haven't heard the words that are being spoken, maybe it's the first time you're hearing them, but listen to them. Traditionally, the land in these tribal communities had been held communally, which means it was the people. It's for everybody. Long as you make it better for somebody else, it's cool. It wasn't no trash to throw around. This is another reason when we talk about indigenous people, there was no trash. These are the things we refuse to know about ourselves, and go ahead and jump into somebody else's culture, not knowing nothing about it. Sister told me today, and this is what I mean. Sister told me today that she did a DNA test, and I just asked her, well, what does the DNA test consist of? Her swabbing and sending that swab to people she don't even know, never met, and them writing back to her and telling her she's this. This was a sister in her 50s, and she stood on it. I'm like, ma'am, you got to be kidding. I'm like, well, why don't you do your own blood test? Well, how do I do that? I ain't never heard of that. You've never heard of a lot of stuff. Blood tests. Where your people are from, and this is why I say, you guys, do some genealogy on yourself. It ain't that hard. Everybody out here charging you to make money off of you. It ain't hard. Do it. I tell you all the time. It goes ignored. Keep on playing around with it. Where your grandparents lived, where your great grandparents lived, remember, they cultivated their own food. They didn't have McDonald's. They cultivated their own food. Many of those foods you still eat today. They call it soul food, right? This is the stuff you ate. You ate your wild animals. Rabbit. You didn't eat chicken. You had pheasant. You had turkey. These were the livestock that are allocated to this side of the planet. When other people started bringing their stuff from their home planet and gave it to you, you lost your mind. Health hit rock bottom. Health hit rock bottom. Won't even, whatever somebody gives you, you eat it. With the establishment of the Dawes Commission, the ruling was made by the colonial agents to divide the land into parcels and institute a system of individual ownership in accordance with U.S. laws, overriding the treaty and tribal laws of the region. To allot the communal lands, citizens of the five tribes, Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, and Seminoles, were to be enumerated and registered by the U.S. government. These counts also included the freedmen, formerly enslaved African Americans who had been emancipated after the Civil Wars with their descendants. You talking about reparations For real, this is what the U.S. government did to you. You could prove it, but you don't because you jump over that and jump straight into Africa's arms, jump straight into Hebrew Israelites' arms, jump straight into Moors' arms, jump straight into Arab, Allah arms. You don't even ask what were the spiritual practices that were practiced here. Why did everybody wanted to come to where the soul people dwell? See, you let people tell you about yourself. When that happens, you'll never be yourself. So I have all these, about the the Dawes Roll and the letter about the $5 Indians. All of that is right at the top of the chat. So you want to get it, get it. But when you get it, you're gonna go into other stuff. You're gonna find other things that is really not talked about or shared about in the so-called African American Black community. All they get is stuff that makes no sense. And notice it. When you go to talk about it, ask a question, it's always an argument. We can't speak to each other. Why? Try. I mean, you no, you know. Can't even, you just running over everybody when you speak. You won't let nobody get out a thought. You lying, and the people just don't know it's a lie because they've been told it their whole life. Their whole life they've been told Santa Claus is coming to town. Their whole life. So what else they gonna know? What else? So these people here, these are the people who are always calling you pretendians. But when we get right down to it, aren't they the pretendians? So when they come at you with that pretendian stuff, all you got to do is say a couple of words, show them a couple of things. That's why I'm sharing this stuff in the chat with you so you'll have it. Who are these people? The dude on the right, the ones that call themselves chiefs and all that, looks just like him. When you pull up information that contradicts what they're pretending to be, you never see them again. And I don't know how many of you recently, I guess it was a town hall meeting or something, when these college students came in to these so-called fake Indians and said, "Hey, you're on this Dawes roll. Your people on this Dawes roll." Now they were on there, but they tried to do what everybody does to get out of explaining what they're talking about. They start an argument. Won't even let the people talk. And that makes people go, forget about it and walk away from it. That's what they're doing. That's what a lot of African American Blacks do when you ask them to explain a ship coming over here filled with people urinating and defecating on each other. When you ask the African American to explain that, they can't. They can't. It makes no sense. Just get a nurse. Get a simple nurse. A simple nurse to tell you impossible. But stories are told, and we believe them like they're the truth. These people have nothing soul about them. You can't see that, or you just can't see the soul in yourself or feel the soul in yourself. The word America tells you, break the word down, translate it into other languages. You'd be surprised at what you get. So these are the things we have to teach the children about themselves. If not, they're going to be just as lost as their parents, grandparents. Don't know, don't just watch TV, stuff that nothing is nothing in life to them. So the Native Americans, and trust me, they'll go away immediately. And this is the stuff we have to know. The American Party, known as the Native American Party before 1855, stick a pin in 1855 because that's when they came on the scene. These are the Native Americans. And by the way, when we call ourselves Native Americans, we're putting ourselves in this reality. That's why I say call yourself who you are. Don't call yourself what other people call you. Who does that? The African American, the black person. They take the history and stories from other people and put themselves in the story. Right? Right? Be honest and tell the truth. When you tell the truth, you'll walk away from the lie. You won't do it no more. And so this is what I'm saying. This is what we give our children. Make it seem all sad for Native Americans. No, just tell them. Are you the Native Americans party from the Native American Party? When did you guys come? When did you guys get here? Because I don't remember seeing you in those wars, the American War. I don't remember seeing you in the Civil War. When did you guys come in? Just ask those questions. We gotta know. We gotta know. You have to pass. How are your children gonna have a decent life if you don't pass down information to them? These people aren't who they say they are. They're stealing your identity. And since you don't know, you go along with it. These people are for foreigners from other lands. And if you went to the land that they're from, acting how they're acting, they would kill you on the spot, wouldn't they? The American Party, known as the Native American Party before 1855, and colloquially referred to as the Know Nothings or the Know Nothing Party, was an old stock nativist political movement in the United States. Now, check this out. What's old stock? Historically, old stock Americans have been mainly Protestants from Northwestern Europe whose ancestors immigrated to British America in the 17th, 18th centuries. Those are old stock. So these are the terms you can use when you're talking to them and know what you're talking about. Watch how they fumble because they expect so-called Black people, African Americans, to know nothing. When you say something intelligent, they're like, what? Because they're used to you on the media, in all these rap songs, all these movies, all these videos, portraying yourself as a complete ass, right? Isn't that how it done? How it's done? Members of the movements were required to say, I know nothing, whenever they were asked about its specifics by outsiders. I don't know. I don't know. They tell you they know nothing. But if you know nothing, you don't know what to ask or to say when they're calling you pretendians. They're telling you who these people are, old stock natives. They come from Europe. You come from here, but you say you come from Africa to make it easier for them to come here and live the life that they're living and live the life that you're living, right? Isn't that how it's done? Isn't it how it's done? Anybody can come over here and say they're you and have you calling yourself somebody else, isn't it? You can do this with Islam coming over here at a time when your people were chilling, living life, making plans for you. but we ignore it. So I put the link to the chat at the top of the chat. Anybody want to come in and share their thoughts, their ideas, and what they see, what's going on here in America? Please, we'll give you the mic with no interruption. Just please say something intelligent so it'll make it'll shake the people, vibe with the people. African Americans ain't Africans. This is your home. And we just been playing because, mainly most scared because you'll have to do things that you've never done before. And most people like living like, they're used to the familiar. There's going to become a time when you can't eat this food. It's that time is now, but people, they'll cut you out. The food is bioengineered food products. You know that, right? Have to keep all these grocery stores stocked, all these restaurants full of food. You really think they're growing this stuff the traditional way? How farmers grew it, how your people grew it, how you were living to be 120, but you jump in somebody else's culture and you want to be them. So that's on us. So a lot of this stuff is going on. You have to remember, you can't blame the people doing it. Why wouldn't you want to come? If you go to some of these places where these people are coming from, why wouldn't you want to live in America? And those of you who traveled it know it's beautiful. And the people are cool too. The vibe is cool. The soul people make it cool. But mainly the soul people, they call themselves black, dead, and will cuss you out. I'm black. Sure, your shoes are black. You're not black. You're not black, sir. I'm black, 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 black. And you know how it goes. So check this out about the Know Nothing Party. Supporters of the Know Nothing movement believe that an alleged Romanist, Rome, check out America and Rome. It'll wake you up instantly. This Romanist conspiracy to subvert civil and religious liberty in the United States. Now remember, United States and America are two different things. The United States is the corporation. America or America is the land. One more time, America, and America is from Alaska, all of Canada. So you got to take away the borders. So remember, the borders didn't come till the pilgrims came. That's how they are. We should know this by now, but for some reason we pretend like we don't know it or we don't see what's going on. Take all the borders from Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean islands, South America, remove them borders, and those people are the same people from Alaska to Chile, just like in over there in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, they're one continent. Don't look at the lines drawn and say, oh, that's over there and this is over here. Those are brothers, all of them. Guess who doesn't know that? I mean, you go look at a map now. You can walk from Europe to Africa. You can walk from Asia to Europe, Asia to Africa. They're the same. They're the same people. The same people. And all you have to do is go to the churches back in those countries. Go to the churches in Amsterdam. Go to the churches in Germany. They have you on it. And what I mean by saying they have you on it, you'll look at it and you'll say, damn, that's somebody I know. So these are the churches like, when you see the the hand of God or the finger of God touching man, that painted on a church ceiling. They have ceilings like that all over Europe. And when they depict the Americas, because they always say, and wasn't nobody lives in America. Yeah, well, it's full of people. What do you mean? This side of the hemisphere, nobody lives here. See, you're all over the place. Go look at the ceilings. When you go to these places, when you travel and go to these places, look at the ceilings. You'll be like, well, you'll see. If you don't see you, you'll see somebody you know that looks just like you. You're the same people. You are your ancestors. Your children are you. All you are is an extension of them. You're not different. You're not separate from them. You've been trained to be like you train a dog. You're trained to be against yourself. You're trained that way. Why are you trained that way? So other people can come over here and enjoy your house. That's why. And you make it more comfortable. You make it less comfortable for yourself and more comfortable for everybody else. So you see this supporters of the Know Nothing movement is all into this Catholic, Protestant, blah, blah, blah. You see their religions are in turmoil. But this is what we want to jump into. And so you ask, well, what were the spiritual practices of the people who were here already? I mean, that question never comes up. When you hear these so-called African Americans, foundational Black Americans, all these people running their yap, well, what were the spiritual practices of the people over here? Since you bringing all this other nonsense over here, that's why there's always an argument in there. That's why they have Protestants protests. They were protesting that. It's dumb. It's dumb. How many Christian factions are there? How many groups of Christians is it? At least 200. At least 200. We'll jump into those instead of figuring out what ours is over here. And it's right in your face. That's the sad part about it. Right in your face. So these Native Americans, they're all they're doing is trying to come into your bloodline, coming up with all these parties, all these groups. Because remember, all of these are groups. They have to align themselves against you, your grandmothers and grandfathers. This is what these people are. This is what these groups are. They calling you pretendians. You shouldn't even show them this. Show them this, and watch what happens. What these people do. So I'm gonna tell you something how they use to trick you. See, when these people are coming over here, start that this is nothing. This is nothing. This is just something that's done on a computer or something. This is nothing. I'm gonna show now. You check this out. When you study these Native Americans, these people coming over here to pretend to be Indians, remember, they had to put on shows. They had to put on, what do you call that? With everybody dancing around, powwows to prove that they can be an Indian. That's how they got on the Dawes Roll. Dress up. Our people didn't dress just like that. You think the soul people, the indigenous people, killed birds for their feathers to dance around and slap themselves in the mouth with it? When you study these Native Americans, you're going to see that most of them were clowns in a circus. They were trying to get on that Dawes roll. They wanted to be you, while at the same time making you want to be somebody else. Did it work? Did it work? These are just the images that they gave you in their newspapers. Because remember, they didn't have no internet back then. You gotta align your mind with that not having. They didn't have TV back then. They didn't have radio back then. They would just pass around papers to show the Indians like this. Now, the terms they use, you'll see that they're one thing, they're Indian, but before it was Indian, it was Indios. Yeah. And everybody knows what Indios means. It has something to do with the higher plane. They came in and usurped your identity right under your nose while you were becoming Christians and Muslims and everything else. This is what they were doing. Now, this is the turn of the century, 1900, 1875. Know that time frame because you are directly connected to those people. Recent. Using the term, oh, that's old, or telling somebody they old. Are they older than a tree? Are they older than the waters in these lakes and rivers? See, when we talk, we don't know what we're saying. We don't know because we're not connected to nothing over here. All these immigrants that came over here and disconnected you from your land, and most are happy with it. You listen to them talk. They don't go back to where they're from in places in Mississippi that are mineral rich, has all kind of stuff there, kind of minerals there. Why? Because your people who live there, that's what they cultivated. Somebody tell you they're gonna give you a job in Chicago, and off you go and never come back. And this is all of them: Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama. You know, a lot of those people have left and have never came back. Right? So we have to start looking at things in reality that makes sense if we're going to make things better for the youngsters. This is the last picture. This is the last image I want to share with you. Now check this out. And this is just not, I don't know what state. I think the state is Virginia. We'll see when it comes up. Check out now, check out the people on the money, 1861. Are these people that telling you you're pretendians? Are you showing them this? Shut them up. 1861, September 2nd, 1861. Now, the idiot will say, he a slave. Sir, does he look like a slave? He looked like he's tending his crop and about to go sell it, and he got a house in his back at his back. What are you talking about? When you listen to the African American or black person talk, they'll tell you that was a slave. Who's the best farmers? The people in the South. Why? It's the black belt. Soil. Grow anything. Cotton was your industry. You grow cotton. They didn't bring that with them. You made that happen. Your grandfather made that happen. That might be one of your granddaddies right there. But we want to be something else. So this cat is connected to the land here. He's connected. You're connected to him. What do you think you could do if you got your mind right? Seriously. Seriously. So we saw that image talking about the Know Nothing Party, all these parties, reparation, the federal, it tell you what the federal government has done before they give another check to Israel, before they give another check to Europe. We're yours because you don't claim it. And if some of us do claim it, it'll be just as many. But we was slaves. So this is how you lose. So going back to pretendians, the pretendians are all in your face. They just got you believing that you are. I just showed you they are. I'm telling you, you got to know what to tell them, say to them, no matter who it is. Africans, Africans come over here telling the African American about himself more than African American tell him. Right? And see, one of the things we don't like to be honest and truthful. And when you're honest and truthful about it, you walk away from the confusion and start pointing your children in a better direction. That's all it is. We rather lie and argue to keep the confusion going. That's what the African American and blacks do. So when you look at Africa, when you look up America and you translate it, it means soul, rich soul. They're talking about you. They're talking about this brother right here on the money. That's what they're talking about. Remember, the Spanish came. I mean, they all came. They all were consolidated, but they came with a mission in mind. We have to know these. We have to know these missions. We have to know how it went down. You just can't be like, I don't know all the time. We know everything about nothing. That's not going to be a good look on these kids. It's not a good look on you now, but it's going to put your kids in a bad position 10, 15, 20 years down the line. I'm just saying. So pay attention to what's happening to you. All this pretending stuff. It's kind of like a mock, but when these people say this to you, you show them some of the things I just showed you and ask them to explain. Don't say nothing. Don't argue. Just say, explain this and watch them. You'll have everything you need to know. You guys have a good night. Thank you for hanging with us. We'll see you next time. Peace.